Right, here, lads.
All right.
Yep.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Celtic Unrestricted View podcast. My name is Ryan Clifford, and Celtic goes 6 point clear at the top of the SPFL table with a 2-1 victory at Ibrox over the Rangers, as we now call them, because they don't want to be part of this Old Firm anymore, which we are not a part of. But as we've seen before the game kicked off, joining me is Barry and JP. The Old Firm is everywhere, but yet they don't want to be a part of it. Well, 6 points clear, apart from, what shall we say, they're trying to get part of the Old Firm, but I don't think it's... let's be honest, lads, I don't think we're a part of that anymore. 6 points clear, JP. As I said before we came on, ever since the game is finished, we've been absolutely buzzing, laughing at some Twitter comments, which we've bookmarked through the season. But before we get into the podcast, obviously, one thing we want to say is the league isn't won. It is only 3 points. But JP, it is a very, very, very massive victory towards the title.
Absolutely, mate. Good evening, lads. It's a pleasure to be joining you tonight. We'll get smiles on our faces, that's what I like to see. I know the money has been no smiles on our faces, put it that way. No, definitely, Ryan. Massive victory. Couple of reasons. Obviously, we've not won there for a couple of years. We've not won like that for in that stadium for quite some time also. I think they had what was their unbeaten record at home domestically?
It was a decent amount anyway, mate.
Aye, and obviously we've put into that as well. So, aye, it's been good all round, mate. Saw a different side to Celtic today. Bits of the game when we couldn't find more passages of football. We had to see other sides of the game, which I loved. We'll get into that obviously as we go. And it was... you're saying it's only a game, it's only 3 points, it's this, it's that. It's a monumental mountain now for them to win that title now. I think you could see that at the end of the game, mate, when half of them looked totally deflated, totally gone. I think they know themselves they're going to need Celtic to lose, is it 3 games effectively, realistically? When you look at the goal difference as well, so we've only lost one game for October, end of September, beginning of October.
Mm-hmm.
We're on a 30, what is it, 34?
I think it's 32 domestically anyway.
32 domestically?
Mm-hmm.
That is unbelievable, unreal. And it's, I don't know about you boys, but it was good to see the old Aaron Ramsey curses came to the fore once again. Aaron Ramsey scores and boom goes the title hopes.
see, to be fair on that, obviously Barry, Ramsey obviously scored, but as much as I don't want to say anything positive about Rangers, I thought Aaron Ramsey was different class from him, to be fair. I'm not going to lie. People can... I know we've slagged about his injuries and whatever else, but you can see the guys played at a good level. You can see he's got a lot of talent, and just maybe unfortunate for them that he's not been fit for them, because he probably could be a vital part of their team. But I thought, obviously we'll talk about it in the podcast, but for me, Barry, I thought they took him off very, very seldomly too early in the game. But obviously, mate, your thoughts on the victory at Ibrox, Barry?
Well, a very good evening to you, lads. I'm really, really happy to be here tonight. And we were here exactly a week ago, weren't we? And we were talking about this very game and saying, what would it be like this time next week? And we've won that game, six points clear. And here we are, we've got all the emotions. It feels amazing. And yeah, I thought, not to state the obvious here, but they started the game well. I mean, they had to. And yeah, the crowd got behind them. They were pressing us high. We made some mistakes. They got the early goal. But our reaction to that was outstanding. I thought once we sort of made a few errors and found our feet a wee bit and got the goal, I thought our football in the first half was much better than theirs. We looked tidier. We looked like the team that had more of an identity, a more clear way of playing. And then obviously to get the second goal before half time was just absolutely perfect. And just where do we go from now? I mean, I know you're saying, Ryan, that a game at a time, and you're right. We have to stick to that, and I'm sure Ange will be pressing that upon the players as well. But there's no way they can claw that back. There's just no way. And from where we were last season to be sitting here now, it's just an incredible achievement. We're not over the line yet, so let's keep our feet in the ground. But I'm absolutely buzzing.
Yeah, mate. Like I said, I don't want to think too far ahead and say the league's finished and stuff, because it's happened before. O'Neill and stuff, helicopter Sunday, so these things can happen. But like you say, like JP says, we've lost 3, I think 4 games on in the league, but they were at the start of the year when we were all over the place. Didn't really have a squad. The manager was only in for 5-6 weeks, whatever it was. No backroom staff. The CEO has left. The team's in fucking disarray. I seen on Twitter, a Rangers fan, it popped up. And what he says, for me, I can actually say he's right. IB lost the league last year with 25 points or whatever it was. We were very, very poor. But Rangers have won the league, right? They've signed, not really signed, but we have strengthened a lot. Full new team, new manager, new backroom staff, and certain 1 or 2 guys who have come in, and obviously the sports sciences guy and stuff. Basically, Celtic's been brand new, apart from maybe some 2 or 3 guys at the top. Lawwell's away. Well, he's probably still there in some capacity because he's got to be obviously with that European thing. But they've came to 25 points, 21 points, whatever it was.
25, I want it to be, aye.
And then now they're 6 points behind it. And they've had it's basically, I think it's a 12-point swing or something. And just came in, start of the year, basically Celtic are in absolutely fucking bedlam. Celtic's in the identity, they've no players, they've no CEO, they've absolutely nothing. And they've just totally, for me, JP, I agree with that guy on Twitter that this is actually a monumental collapse for Rangers. They've totally went from there to there within. We happened to us, right? I understand that, but we've got basically a full new Celtic. Everything's changed. So for me, JP, if we go and win this league, and like we have said, a possible fucking treble, I know that's when it happened, JP, but I'm just going to get a statue, mate. That's phenomenal, fucking mate. That is unbelievable. That is. I know Rodgers' invincible season was amazing, mate, but if Ange can get us the league and a possible treble, mate, forget about Rodgers, by the way, because that is unbelievable, man. As a football manager to come and do that, and mate, this is only 6, it could be 9, it could go to 12. That is just, I don't know what else I can say about Ange, mate, because it's been phenomenal. And obviously go to take a hat off to players. I know the league's not done yet, but we're there at the moment for where we were at the start of the year. It's something you can't describe with so many good words.
Absolutely, mate. I think you touched on it there, mate, when you says about the point deficit. There's been a 12-point swing for the turn of the year. Now, I watch loads of different variety types of different football. And I watch the German league, I watch down in England sometimes I watch the French league. I have never seen anything like that before in my life.
Never.
With a brand new team. I've never seen it like that before. I've never seen a brand new team being flung together so quickly to then have to gel together and then create a relationship, a vibe, a culture, camaraderie, everything that you see with the Celtic team now. I've never seen a team do that so quickly in all my life. And it's all through one man, Ange Postecoglou. Now, everybody, you're saying about building a statue. Where would you put it? Like, where would you, I mean, and what size would it be? Because he's not exactly a shrinking violet, is he? So, I mean, that's going to be a pretty big statue and a big honour for a man who, for me, has a sheer aura about him.
Mm-hmm.
He conducts himself so professionally. He conducts himself with class. It's just been unbelievable, right? I can't. That's it. You're right. This is going to surpass anything Rodgers did. It will. Because his wasn't a total rebuild, a full new squad.
Mm-hmm.
For the goalkeeper right through to the striker. There's been a new player brought in every position in Ange's team. For Ange's, he's only had 2 transfer windows. And we're not, as I said to you before, mate, we're only at the beginning of the cycle. We're only seeing snippets of what's going to come more on a regular basis. And this is what Ange's talking about the team peaking at this stage of the season, when you're challenging for trophies and titles and when winners' medals are handed out. That's what he says. We want to be part of that.
Mm-hmm.
The day was just champions. That was a mark of champions, the proper champions mentality. Now, a couple of weeks ago, leading up to this, Jack Marcus out saying he thinks we're a better team, blah, blah, blah. We saw Starfelt say it as well. Starfelt was talking before the game. He even mentions it in that interview. And he's standing with a big Rangers crest behind him in the stadium. But Juranovic has mentioned about, he was asked about how they prepare for the derby. As if we just train as if we're playing Hibs. That was his answer, because the belief that they've now had installed in them and the freedom that they're given to go and express themselves and do what they do on a football pitch is just, it's there for everybody to see, mate. And that group of players are only going to get better and better and better and stronger.
Mm-hmm.
But defensively today, we were outstanding. There'll not be one Celtic fan tonight questioning any of our defenders right through that back four. Not one. Because for weeks now, they have played like that. I think we've only conceded 2 goals in their last 13 games. That's frightening. Frightening.
See as well, like you're saying, obviously, Simon Donnelly mentioned it on, obviously, I watched Sports Scene before we came on, and even he says, I've watched Celtic all year. It says, I'm putting like this all year. People seem to criticise Celtic's defence when they can. They've got the best defensive record in Scotland, the best attacking record in Scotland, most points in Scotland. I think Celtic have lost the same amount of games now. I think they're drew a bit more than Celtic. So if you look at all the stats, Celtic are the best team. I try and be balanced, Barry, right? But like JP says, especially we all says it after the game at Celtic Park, there was a gulf that night, and I still believe there's a gulf now. I think you can see it. The first game at Ibrox, I thought we were good. I thought we were a better team again. Just I think Edward, Mr. Sitter, Christie, Kyogo missed a lot of chances, and we all said that from we're clinical, when we start winning games, and since end of September, October, we've been flying. For me, Barry, I thought maybe the first 10 minutes, wee bit shaky, obviously, but like we all said, we expected that because Rangers had to come out all guns blazing. They had to come out and actually put the game to us and get an early goal, which they did. But the character, Barry, for us again, the mindset of just, right, okay, that's where to go. We just continue to play the same way, boom, and then I know we'll talk about the goal. Obviously, we've mentioned that Barry, that Juranovic should have done better, but for a few minutes, Tom Rogic, £4 million he was away for, right? See, to buy this guy's quality now, much money would you need to spend, Barry, to buy this boy for somebody else? Because he's an absolute gazelle, mate. He's an absolute wizard. I don't mind him playing 60 minutes and getting off like he did today, 65 minutes, because if that's what you're going to get off him, Barry, every single week for 60 minutes, I'll take that every fucking day of the week.
Tom Rollins is just class personified, isn't he? I mean, I watched the game with my boys, and we were talking about Tom Rogic at one point. We said the same thing. See, when that guy gets on the ball, you're just confident that he's going to play the right pass.
All the time.
Oftentimes when you're watching the game, you think you see the right pass, and Tom Rogic will play a different pass, and you go, right, I didn't see that. His vision is incredible. His first touch, his ability to take the ball in tight areas. He's a luxury player, isn't he? He's a luxury because he makes things happen. You know, if you look at their team, and you know, you're giving credit to Ramsey, who I thought he played pretty well. And yeah, they probably did take him off prematurely, actually. But Tom Rogic, he's got that quality. He's got that quality to pick the right pass, to take a couple of players out the game, just by a wee movement of his body. He's just got that imagination and that game intelligence. He took his goal well because he could have put that over the bar. He could have put it into the ground. I mean, it came to him pretty quickly, and again, just showed his class, you know, composure, and stuck it away nicely. But yeah, I just think that the mentality of this Celtic team and their focus, their togetherness, you know, JP's alluding to it there, but the culture at Celtic, the environment, the togetherness, the unity, the connection between the manager, the players, the fans. And you know something? I know I'm maybe guilty of bringing this up time and again on the podcast, but it's relevant. Relate that to last season. Think about how despondent we were as a group of fans and how confused we were at what had happened to the club. And I know it happened through a pandemic, but still, the way the wheels came off, and it was hard to believe. And I don't forget that. You know, I remember how bad it felt at that time. And for this guy to have came in from the other side of the world and to have done what he's done in a short period of time, and it's now fair to consider the possibility of us doing a treble. It's not unreasonable for us to think that way. We've got a title in the bag. We're looking very pretty in the league. It would take a disaster for that to fall apart. And we're playing a team in the semi-final that we've beat back-to-back, home and away. And we've got that psychological advantage. That is in those players' heads. It must be. So, and you know something as well? I've got the wee man to come back for Kyogo will be playing, hopefully, for the running as well. So everything points towards an incredible season, guys.
Aye, obviously, Barry, you're talking about Rogic's finish. Absolutely different class, mate, honestly. I said it to even my dad watching the game that if Rogic had a bit better pace, I generally don't think he'd be a Celtic player. I generally don't. I think he'd be away. The guy's got everything. This year, he's proven the guy that we know. But we all know last year, for me, everybody was a victim of last year. And if for me, JP, if we do, it's a big if because trebles and league titles, any game of football's hard to win. If we win 3 trophies, you've got to actually look at last year, and we all know that something. What the fuck happened last year? If you can get 5, basically out of 6 trebles, 10 out of 11 league titles. That is fucking unbelievable at any level. It doesn't matter if it's fucking PSG in France, fucking Celtic Hearts in the league, whatever it is. It's phenomenal. And again, JP, the only thing I'm really glad about today, mate, is actually some people that's giving us credit for a change. Celtic were good, Celtic controlled the game, Celtic this, and I was like, do you know what? Fair play. Because a lot of times, as we spoke about in this podcast and even just in the group chat and stuff, that we don't get any credit. We've won 4 trebles. It's all right because Rangers won the red. And listen, when we spoke about in JP that any game of football is hard to win, any league title's hard to win. To continue to win and probe and win and probe, it's a very, very hard task to do. And Barry's obviously talking about mentality, JP. Mentality for me is Callum McGregor. Everything about that guy is phenomenal. What a player. He's probably all round the best player in Scotland. All round. He's got everything. his pace, his direction. It's just, I think it was a pundit in the paper the other day was actually saying he's probably Scotland's most important player as well. And I said he's probably Celtic's most important player when it comes to the midfield. He just drives us forward, and obviously for the goal for Rogic, he was absolutely outstanding. I thought he was actually under the radar today, but if you actually looked at the game as a Celtic fan and as a football fan, he was unbelievable, JP.
He was, mate. I've said it many times about McGregor, Ryan. He's Rolls Royce material, mate. He's just unbelievable. Everything he does, he's just so tidy, and he does it effortlessly. He plays a game similar to Paul McStay, in my opinion, in terms of he's just sheer quality. He's just unbelievable with a ball. He's developed his game humongously in terms of his tactical awareness. Mm-hmm. He was a bit raw when he came in with Dealgary. He was a bit raw. He was chasing, a bit like headless chicken. He was chasing balls, a bit like Thomas Gravison.
Aye.
A big swarm of veins on a big part and just follow the ball wherever it goes. Do you know what I mean? But no, he's just different class. He's absolutely different class. And I thought the day he was just to bring he single-handedly brought us back into the game when he takes a rebound and he's like a rebo. He's that boy, you know what I mean? I'm away, catch me, and he couldn't. And obviously Barry touched on Big Rogic's finish. That's not an easy finish, by the way. It comes at him fast, and as Barry says, he could very easily take a raw touch and it goes in a bar, take another touch, goes off the ground and hits it, goal in the back of the head and goes out for a corner. Or he can have the Tom Rogic ability and just put that right into the roof of the net, which he did do. I'll tell you what, I know, Big Vickers' finish wasn't an easy finish either. Mm-hmm. And that was on his left foot. So I thought Starfelt for that goal was absolutely unbelievable. The pressure he put on Balogun. He just gets right in about him when Jota puts that ball in. And it's a brilliant cross as well for Jota. So he's one of the ones I know that I thought was him and Hatate were sort of
quiet.
Drift. Jota probably did more than Hatate, but I don't want to say passenger, but they were very quiet for their standards, if that makes sense.
No, I agree, mate. I agree as well.
They were about the only two, I would imagine. I thought Giakoumakis was outstanding today again. His pressing is unbelievable for a guy his size. He just reminds me of Big Sutton. He just gets right in about it. His challenge on Ryan Jack, man, that was quality. Quality. And all Ryan Jack could do was try and lean on a big man's face. You could see Ryan Jack's face as if to say, I don't like to be here. Mm-hmm. I don't want. And you seen it earlier as well with Taylor had a go at him. No, Taylor said something to him. Similar to McGregor in the Parkhead game against Barisic, shot it. Mm-hmm. Taylor said something to him and Jack turned around, he wasn't happy. And Taylor was howling and laughing. He actually couldn't go and lift the ball up for laughing. He had to take his time, and I think Ange gave him a bottle of water. He took a drink of water to compose himself. But it was just brilliant to see. As Barry says, back-to-back victories against him. It's just phenomenal. Phenomenal. And their highlight of the season is their world beaters because they beat Dortmund. Domestically, they've not done too well, in my opinion. I don't think Gio's improved them. I think they're getting away with it now because they've become a Livingston in Europa League. Mm-hmm. And they're making it harder for teams to play against them. Their main man wasn't fit again today. And to be fair, the way we defended today, I don't even think he'd have made a difference. I really don't. I don't think he makes a difference. Mm-hmm. I loved the challenge with Carter Vickers on Roof as well. I like tackles like that. Because it lets you know you're in about it. And they, by the way, they had a couple of things and all with one with Bagaribo and O'Reilly. All right, it wasn't a foul, but there was a wee bit of meat in the challenge. Lundstrom obviously gets booked for his tackle on Giakoumakis. But see when that happens, and like I say, Big Giakoumakis is normally at the forefront of the writing about it stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that kicks off. So see when he kicks off, the rest of the team foley. And I seen it again today. He gets that challenge on Lundstrom straight after it, Ryan. He's up and he gets right in about Balogun straight away. And he's having a go at him. And then you see Greg Taylor having a go at Tavernier. And he had a go at Bagaribo right after it. And it just that sets the tone, Ryan. When one of your players is showing his war face, the rest of the players, you know, especially if it's a guy you respect and a guy you kind of look up to in a way, the rest of the players follow suit. And that was what we showed today. I know we showed the dogged side of our game. That we can let you have the ball. And same at Parkhead in the second half, they proved again they weren't good enough. I don't know what else I need to say, but I agree with you, Ryan. I think that you can now see a gulf between the two teams. And I also think that Ange has definitely got their number now.
Aye, for me, mate, I think before the game they were talking about Fadden, Boyd and Petrov, and they were basically saying that the start of this year Celtic struggled to beat doing Livingston, and then a few weeks ago we obviously beat them 3-1 at Livingston. We actually controlled the game. It could have been a lot better than 3-1, and I think with Fadden and Petrov were saying now that I think Celtic have found a way now to beat these teams. And then they can go and do it against Rangers and etc. And I think I'll give Chris Boyd his due, by the way. I'll give him his due for the first time this year. He's actually went, do you know what, you're right. He says Celtic are playing well, and if the day one title's finished, the only time I'll give Boyd credit, he was actually very credible against Celtic to start the game before the game.
I actually want to just come in there quickly, Ryan. I actually have seen a big change in his attitude towards us for all that kicked off with McGregor. Mm-hmm. When he was talking about the last time, how did nobody test that mask? Remember when he said that the last the game at Parkhead? Yeah, I've noticed a big change in his kind of his attitude, if you say. So I know what you mean there.
And like you say, a guy who I do obviously we can talk about Barry Maeda's work rate was unbelievable. That guy's a fucking machine. And Ange's obviously come out and says that he'll do that every game. He's just fit as fuck. He probably maybe should have finished 2 of his chances if I'm being critical. But I'm not going to be critical, Barry, because the guy was phenomenal. JP mentioned Giakoumakis, who I thought was fucking unbelievable. Does the dirty work. The last 5 minutes, he's hobbling about, still running. He gave the ball away the last 2 minutes. I thought they were going to score, but that's due to tiredness, not down to lack of quality or concentration. Just burst. He done really well against Bargain and Golson. Didn't really get a lot of service, but he done which we have been crying out for a long time, Barry, is the dirty side of the game, the experienced side, the nasty side. And I just see him getting better as well. I don't know what else to say about Giakoumakis. People, when obviously after the penalty at Livingston, very, very critical against him. I think, and everybody in this podcast was actually quite positive about him. They were saying, listen, he'll come good. He scored goals in a shit team in Holland. He's proven for me already that he's worthy of Celtic jersey. And I thought he was superb today.
I agree with you, man. Spot on, mate. And I don't think, my perspective on that second half, it wasn't as though we were backs to the wall. That wasn't what I watched. I thought we were measured. I thought we forced them into putting balls into the box. I thought that as the game went on, they looked as if they were void of ideas. They were shooting for silly positions. They were punting the ball into the box even off the halfway line. So to me, it was a measure at this point in the second half. It's not as if we were making last-ditch challenges and riding my luck. That never happened. And the saves that Joe Hart made, and he actually made a really good save in the second half, a good save in the first half, but in the second half he made a good save. But both were offside. Not to take it away from the saves, they were still great saves, but they didn't look that threatening for a team that that game was win or bust for them. And they clearly knew that with the way their appetite for it, and you know, they went for it, but the quality wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's not so much about them, but it's about us and our shape and our awareness and our commitment and, you know, our discipline and our players' understanding of how to be in the right place at the right time. So it bodes well for the next game we play against them, because the cup semi-final, because if this is a game where everything's on the line for them, they're going into this knowing to do or die, and they can't get the victory in that game. I think it makes us odds-on favourite for the cup semi-final. But in terms of what you're saying about big man up top and Maeda's unbelievable. Unbelievable. His work rate, his ability to track back, the pace that he gets the players to close them down. And do you know what really pleased me about Madeira? And you said it yourself, it was the fact that he got in goal-scoring positions. Mm-hmm. He actually could have been on the score sheet. I thought he was slightly unlucky, but I agree, he probably should have took one of the chances, but a wee bit unlucky as well. But he, to me, is somebody who's grown into a Celtic team. When I thought about the starting 11 today, I thought, well, in terms of width and quality on the ball, you're probably looking at Jota and Abada as their most effective players there. But then I thought, there's no way you could leave Maida out of that team, because the amount of work that he gets through up there, up top, the amount of times he wins the ball back for Celtic, either directly or indirectly, because players make mistakes because he has pressing, and Celtic end up recovering the ball. So he has been fantastic, and Giakoumakis, he's just the type of player you love to watch, isn't he? Because he's very physical, he's up for it, in the air, on the deck. He must be a nightmare for defenders, because when he comes to press you, as a defender, you must be thinking, there's a good chance here I'm going to get clattered, whether I get the ball away or not. But yeah, just to sort of come back to the mentality of the team. And this is a game I've got to come back to our manager and his recruitment, because he's recruited guys who have certain football abilities, but he's brought in guys with a certain temperament, guys who want to work, guys who are committed, who, you know, they only have their eye on the team and performing on the match day and doing things. I think it was yourself, Ryan, it's the professionalism that Ange has brought to the team. You can see that. You can see the players, they just have a strong focus. They're there to do the business. So the mentality, the togetherness, all that stuff, it's stuff in football that sometimes doesn't really get highlighted. But if you look at what happened with last year, you can see the value in it. You can see how crucial it is to have that unity, togetherness, professionalism. And Ryan, you said it yourself right at the beginning, mate. The way this season's going, and taking all things into consideration, Ange Postecoglou, in my mind, is putting himself above Brendan Rodgers and the success that he had. So, yeah, amazing.
And obviously at the start I said about a statue. I wasn't actually meaning getting a statue, but that's sort of what he's done. It's totally unbelievable what he's done. And like you say, he's brought in guys for Giakoumakis. Like we've spoke about in I think every single podcast, lads, about the value for money that we've got for recruitment. I think it's 2.75 million. I think it was Giakoumakis, 2.5. Ivanovic, Hatate. I know Hatate, I thought was, I don't know if it's maybe because he plays international games too much recently, but I thought in the second half, I thought he looked blown out his arse. Maybe it's an injury we don't know about, but he looked blown. And yes, I seen him like that, blown. So, and even the quality you're bringing off the bench, man. Tumble, O'Reilly, Beaton, I thought came on, done well, calmed the game down, made a few fibbles that were good fibbles at the time.
Big limousine, isn't he?
Aye, mate. He was making fibbles for me, JP, that were good fibbles in their half to pick up the play. And that's experience as well, mate. That's what we've gotten in abundance now. Guys who are what I would call winners that people say we've no got. We're certainly in our team that's not got any fucking losers in it. As it stands.
You see him when he came on, he took you free down the touchline with the touches.
Brilliant,
he took you free for hot dogs, didn't he? He's like, bye-bye.
Absolutely superb, mate. I just
I
thought...
think he missed it, was doing that to him. Bye-bye.
I just generally thought, JP, that the full performance, it was controlled. You could say we defended well, so obviously Rangers tried to press, but anything they really threw at us, JP, for me, mate, didn't really offer much. I think Joe Hart had one good save for Sakala. Roughly, that was about it. I thought Rangers' only shining light was Aaron Ramsey, JP. And again, they took him off, which I was surprised about. I was glad about because the guy was kind of cutting us open with some of his passes. People obviously criticising for his injuries and not being fit. But you see the guy's got quality. Obviously, I don't think he'll be there next year. He'll be probably a better team Rangers. But let's be fair, he's only using him to get fit for Wales, for the World Cup, etc. So I do believe that it was very controlled, and I do believe there's a gulf now. Again, I'm not want to tempt fate to say the league's finished because that'd be fucking silly of me, but it's going to be very hard, JP, considering the performance of the team. You can't see he's going to losing even one game in their mind free. And obviously, if it comes to the split, I think maybe 4 at home, I think, roughly, in that 6 games. So that will be very hard for us to lose, in my opinion. I know football's a strange game, but considering what we've done so far, JP, as I did say before, you would be fucking sick if it was to happen because you just can't see it happening really. But the squad we've got, and as Barry says, everything about Ange is just. We mentioned Rodgers as a legend. Obviously, he's left in circumstances, but for what he's done, he is a bit of a legend in that half, getting trebles. But what Ange, if he does do what we think he might do, I don't know what else you can say, mate. It's stuff of dreams as a Celtic fan to go and win another league, which, let's be fair, by rights we shouldn't, because we've came for where we've came for. Fucking basically a brand new team, and maybe when the thought, as you say, JP, the 40 another treble, that is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing.
Magic, isn't it? Magic that we're sitting here. It's magic that we're sitting here with that possibility. No, you said a minute ago about everything he threw at us. The only thing he didn't throw at us was Jimmy Whittle's island board.
Yeah.
But he missed that one.
I'll tell you what I know, Barry Way here.
He's the only man I know can iron out their problems.
Yeah. I tell you what, fucking me, Gio forgot his fucking lunch box. That's why he was angry at him.
Aye. He was in a huffy day. Aye. He didn't get his Kinder Egg before the game started.
he's like, what, my ham, where's the ham? Fucking ham and cheese.
Aye. He's not looking forward to the semi-final. He's looking forward to it because it's Easter Sunday.
Aye. Have we Easter egg for that off his mammy?
Aye. He's hoping for a whip off the boys so he can go to Australia and watch Big Ange's team play. But no, they've totally surpassed anything that I would have imagined was possible, to be honest. Probably any, realistically. At the beginning of the season, when West Ham came and you saw the young boys that were in the team, and if I was to say to you then, don't worry lads, see by April we're going to be sitting 6 points clear after beating them back to back, blah blah blah. Everyone would get kicked off us. You know what I mean? It'd have been like that. Delete. He's talking nonsense. But no, as I say, it's been totally remarkable to watch. Performance, the last 2 performances against them have been absolutely outstanding. The recruitment itself, I mean, that's the biggest price I think I've saw for the Italian job, mate. Mm-hmm. When you look at the prices that were priced for players, how did we get away with that? Like 1.5 million for Matt O'Reilly, 1.3 million for Rio Hatate, 2.5 million for Josip Juranovic, £1 million for Joe Hart. You've got to be kidding on. I think we've got an obligation. Now, the obligation means he does sign after it's finished. And Maeda's only going to be like 1.3 million an hour. The only ones we've really spent bigger money on was Kyogo and Starfield. And even at that, the two of them are absolute steals for £4 million. A what? 600,000, the big lad scales, I think we paid. All right, we've not really seen much of him, but that's to do with the team's form, I think. No meant to do with the boys' ability. £2 million for Giacomakis. The recruitment has been unbelievable, unreal. The talent spotting, the way they've went about it, the quickness of the recruitment as well, not just who we've signed. We were sitting at Hogmanay, guys, and we were all texting on the group chat, and we'd signed 3 players. The window wasn't opening for another 24 hours. We'd announced the signing of 3 players. When have you ever saw Celtic do that in a transfer window? Frightening. So we've not only got a guy that knows how to coach and develop, we've also got a guy that's got an eye for talent. Because he's not signed a bad player. Even the one that's really unfair is you can't really judge him. But I doubt he's a bad player. And even if he snippets we've seen, he showed bits of quality. Is he Gucci?
Yeah.
And it's just a total shame that boy came in and got injured when he did. Because I think he would have featured much more up to now if he hadn't got that bad challenge against him, against Alloa. But no, as I say, you can't praise it enough. It's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And you said yourself, Aaron Ramsey. I mean, when we were rumoured that they were bringing him in on a deadline day, and even when he signed, and then he hadn't kicked a ball for ages, I think to myself, man, you'd be as well signing Gordon Ramsay. Do you know what I mean? Because it's he makes Mary Amelia whatever's going on, you know what I mean? At least. But no, he was okay. He was certainly our best player today. And I didn't think he was great, Brian. I thought he was okay. And if that's us saying that, you know, that's their best player, they're in bigger trouble than probably we imagine. I don't know what's going to happen to them now. Celtic is straight into Champions League. You're talking mega money. Puts humongous amounts of pressure that I'm glad I'm a Celtic fan, put it that way, because I probably don't even need to contemplate where my team would stand after that. Imagine watching your rivals coming, turning you on your own pitch, and then knowing it's going to take a monumental disaster but massive turnaround and a big drop in form. We've got too much quality in the team. And let's not beat about the bush. We'd need Kyogo in there today, right? Julian's not even come back into the team yet. So we've got these guys still waiting to come into the team. We've got humongous amount of options now and quality throughout the team. So when you're hanging on to that wee glimmer of hope, and let's not forget there's another derby to come at Parkhead. So I wouldn't want to be. I don't think it'll be any simpler. The best getting played in the bus in the way on that day.
No, but need fucking Tia turn on the fucking bus and right over.
No, don't even think Penny Arcade was turned on, mate.
Or I'm feeling it. I think that's a venue. I know. I think that's. I know.
It's not got that bad that we're singing that now. No. You know what I mean? It's because I'm certainly feeling it. I don't know about you boys, but I am.
I think, see what you're saying, mate. I agree with you, JP. And obviously, Barry, I'm similar to what JP says there, obviously, about where we've came from as it stands at the moment. I've says I think Rangers have got a few guys that are contracted this year or next year Balogun's 33. I think Kamara's maybe into his 30s now. They're getting older, and I do believe that. Let's be fair here. I know they're done. I think they'll beat Braga, right? I don't think they'll beat Leipzig or Atlanta, but there's some chance they can win this competition, right? And you don't want that because they're going to get in the Champions League. They're going to get money, right? So you don't want that, right? I can't see it happening, but you know me now, guys. I like to look at the possibles, and they could win it, and you don't want that because you don't want them in Europe way. You don't want them getting any money. But for me, Barry, if we win the league, which we're on track to, you win the treble, you get into this Champions League, it's guaranteed, say, £30 million, right? That's without ticket sales, selling maybe a player or two, your training gear, everything that comes with all that. We should be going for another 3, 4, 5, 6 but I think this time Barry will do it properly. I think I've said it before to JP that the demise of Celtic was when they went downhill to the third division and we didn't spend money. Lobel was just happy to win the league. Fuck Europe, we'll sign 2 or 3 guys, we'll win the league. But we didn't really progress until Rodgers came in, and then we progressed. But I think now, lads, Barry, I'm talking to you now. I think if we do get into Europa League, the Champions League, and we do get that money, I think Ange is going to take us 3, 4, 5 years, light years ahead of Rangers because we have the money. And they'll need in my opinion, Barry, a full rebuild again because you can't see Morelos staying. Obviously, it all depends on guys getting bids in for him, which we all know doesn't happen often. Barisic doesn't want to be there. Golson's one that he's contact thinks a superstar. He's about to go and play down south. Hernandez not got a kick of the ball. He was one of the biggest signings. Ramsey's going to be away. Diallo, £40 million sub for Man United. Shot himself since the Celtic game at Parkhead. No played since, really. They're going to be in disarray, mate. I'm not going to say it's going to be worse than us, but they're going to need to spend about £40 million to get even anywhere near us. So if they do lose the league, Barry, it's not just losing the league, mate. It's a monumental fucking come down for the full team.
Yeah, I think it's well documented, isn't it? The importance of this season winning the league because it looks like automatic straight into the Champions League, and that means big money.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're highlighting a really good point there. I think they've got a goalkeeper who can't keep going for much longer. They've got probably their main centre back who's running out his contract. You've got Ramsey who's on loan, who's certainly not going to be Rangers next year. You've got their main striker who he's eager to leave. I think come the end of the season he will move on. You've got a guy in Arfield who's aging. You've got Davis who's aging. You've got 2 guys on the bench today who were pivotal to their team last year, Kamara and Barisic, who this new manager just doesn't seem to fancy at all. So I think you look at their team and you look at their situation now, and if Celtic go on and do with Holden we're going to do, where does that leave them? They do have a rebuild to do at the end of the season, and if they've got no trophies to show for it, and no Champions League football, how much investment can they really put in? Because they've probably already overspent in the previous 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
Another name, Ryan Kent, he wanted to be there next year. And then if they do keep any of these players, if you say maybe bids to come in for them, are they players going to play to their optimum level next year? Because we've experienced that at our club where players, their time's up and they want to leave. And if they stay beyond that, you just don't get the best of them. So it's shaping up to be a bit of a mess for them, I think. But turning back to us, what would it mean for us? I mean, Champions League football under Ange, with this squad of players who, JP was mentioning it there. I still don't think we saw the best of these players, mate. Mm-hmm. I don't think we saw the best of this team because the way that Ange Postecoglou wants to play is so unique and so specialised. There's no way he could master it in 9 months. Especially not with a brand new team of players. So this Celtic team have got a lot of stretching to do. Even just with the current players, they've got 3-4 left probably they can still go to. But with Champions League money, with the confidence that Ange must be demonstrating to the board in terms of recruitment, that must be a match made in heaven. The board and Ange must sit down with Champions League money, with the high of, getting us the season that we're having. You'd be looking at it and you'd be going, let's invest big.
Mm-hmm.
Let's spend on maybe 3 players, 4 players. Hopefully, those 2 guys that are there on loan, Carter Vickers and Jota, hopefully they're 2 of the signings that we will make. But if you add even another 2 to the first team, I think you're right, Ryan. I think we've put ourselves in a totally different position to Rangers and moved streaks ahead of them. So, all going well, everything. If we just keep on the current momentum, then come the end of the season, we're going to be in the place we all want to be. And any players that Ange identifies to the board, they should be going, no problem, Gaffer, we'll go and get them for you.
Aye, mate, I'm totally with you there. I think, JP, I'm seeing you nodding your head, mate. I think you're agreeing as well that if we do win the league, we're hoping, we spoke about this many a times, that they will need a rebuild. And like Barry says, people can, any Rangers fans, if they listen to this for any chat, for their group chats and shit, they can come in and listen, because they're going to need to spend a packet, and they've not got a packet. They're going to have to pay money out for this Australia thing. We all know they've got cases with share issues, and they all know there's still court cases to go for money. They'll have more share issues next year, but again, we've got to do what we do. And for me, JP, if we do what we think we're going to do, I think they're going to be in some mess, and I just think we're going to take Scottish football again back to where we've been. Because I still say that last year was, I didn't think about last year now, mate. Last year was a year to forget, a year that it shouldn't be in the record, because last year was unbelievable, so bad. I think eventually we've said that something will come out eventually, because it was too bad to be true. But the game of the day, going on to again, I know I'm very trying to be balanced. As in our game, and next week we go again, but it's very, very hard not to take this as a very, very monumental victory going to the title.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's totally, it sets your psyche to a different level altogether, in my opinion. And psychologically, that's going to take a massive, massive effect on them. Massively. See, they play us 2 weeks a day. Can you imagine being in the blue room now and sitting there and going, oh no, we've got to play them in 2 weeks' time.
Mm-hmm.
They've turned us out last twice, and the manager's an absolute tactician. He changes the game on a whim. He sees something happening. They were dominating midfield. They broke Beaton on, and they couldn't win. They couldn't win a game of cards between them. And as I say, Ange, as Barry says, we changed it. I believe that was a tactic again today for Ange. The way we set up and we were measured in terms of, right, you're going to need to put long crosses into the box. We'll just let you have the ball. You can have the ball out there, and you're going to need to fire it in the box, because he's only going to play for us. First and foremost, they weren't good enough to play for us. We saw that the last 2 games. So, I think today and the game in February, we've proved what I've been saying. I think they're a bang average side. I think if you set up really well against them and you've got good quality in your team, you'll overcome them. I think they get away with it because the other teams in the league don't necessarily have the quality. They've not got the manpower to do what we can do and go toe-to-toe with them. We are a better team than them. I firmly believe that. I agree with Jackie Marcus. Ryan Jack was sitting the other day saying he thought I was disrespectful. Well, he can say whatever he likes here, because I'm telling you right now, we're a better team than you, Ryan, if you're listening. Simple as that. There's no argument about it. That's just factual. We've got better players. We've got players with severe hunger. whereas they've lost hunger.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to have a weaker mentality, because as Barry says, that was do or die for him today, mate. And for me, they showed a spell in 6 minutes that they should have showed for 90 if they wanted to win a shout be taken in for that game. Once we get that equaliser, it ripped the soul right out of him. You could see it. As soon as we scored, the big goose went silent. It was totally silent. You could hear a penny drop. And then when we got the second goal right before half time, that was a perfect time to score again, Ryan. Perfect. Because it rips your soul right out of the team when you've gone up that tunnel knowing fine well you've just conceded another and they've went in the lead. So then it forces you, well, it would force a team to come out and chase the game in the second half. They did, mate. They didn't even, they're still playing it now and they've not scored again. That's what I've just been told.
Mm-hmm.
And they've not even MDN goals. they came back out for a kick a bit, want to score. Not scored again. Keep putting the bar in the post and keep putting the ball out wide with the daft crosses that we're trying to do. And apparently Maeda is still sprinting about like our governor now looking for somebody to press. Jimmy Bell needs to get a man what a presser he is, I'll tell you.
Yeah, that's about to say, Barry. The only thing you getting press is his fucking he's fucking stats from next week.
Me Maeda through the Ireland board at him.
Jimmy, press that, you can't.
But in all seriousness, it's just amazing. It's totally amazing the position now we've now find ourselves in, lads. And it's, I said it earlier, Barry said it there, we're not even sure the best yet. It's going to get better and better and better. And there will be quality added, because when we get to the Champions League, then you'll see the tables turning. Ange will start. Ange, by the way he works, Ange will probably have already identified whoever he's bringing in the summer. Don't think me. There's been humongous talk now about that boy Scott for Bayern Munich. Mm-hmm. Now the boys' representatives are now leading us to believe it's an extreme possibility. And again, don't be fooled. We're only hearing these snippets in the media. But if it's something that Ange wants, I bet you any money Ange would have already spoke to the player. It'll be down the line, because that's the way the man conducts himself. And you hear the players that we signed, and Matt O'Reilly talking about it. Joe Hart spoke about Ange phoning him, the way he is with him on the phone. You seen him at the end of the game today, cuddling him all. Well done. The camera was up close enough for us all to hear what he was saying. Well done. And I thought the build-up to the game was brilliant, but the fans turned up outside the training ground, and he was at the forefront again, right down at the gates, talking to them, saying, thanks, guys, waving to them all. He came out today when the stadium was relatively empty. I don't know if any of you have seen the video.
I've seen it, mate, aye.
And he's up again at the Celtic fans, waving at them, clapping at them, thanking them for coming. The Dakota Hotel, they left today. There was videos of him appeared there, and he's there doing autographs, and he's always got the time to it doesn't matter how busy he is. He's one of the biggest jobs in the world, and he's still got the time to be a man of the people, because that's what he is. He's a leader of our club, so that entails, and he's brought everybody together, Ryan. Everybody. We were at disarray. We were on a different page for the club last season. We're all joined again. We're all one big engine again, all moving in the same direction now. People laughed at him. He was to be sacked by Christmas. He was going to be another Pedro Caixinha. He was going to be this, he was going to be that. Nobody's laughing now, apart from Big Ange.
Yep.
Alan Brazil, a prime example. If you go and look up the video when he's been announced the Celtic manager, And he's giving it, oh, this is going to be a wind-up, innit? Blah, blah, blah. He'll be a great manager. Wonder how Alan's feeling now. As I say, and like I says, and if that's a game that's do or die for them as well, I'll say again, if that's a game that's do or die, and that's the performance they put on, it's no, I'd be really surprised where we are. I'm not.
I think Barry, what JP says for me, it alludes to what they've said through the players, that they've lost the mentality or the hunger, etc. If that's a do or die game, you've got your full crowd against you. We've got a tiny wee bit at the stadium. We should be coming there. I was expecting them for the first 15, 20 minutes to be hard at it. They got the first goal, Barry, and for me, they just went, up, I've got to go now, we'll just sit in. They played one man up front at home, which I know they might not have the resources to put two guys up front, but one man up front against your rivals, try to go for a game that you need to win, doesn't really speak volumes for me. I noticed our formation, Barry. We did basically play a fat three up front, the two wingers, Jota and Maeda. When we're going up front, it was a flat three. It was brilliant to watch. I just like you says, JP, for me, Barry, that Ange is just totally different league to wee Gio. I think Gio, if he doesn't win the Europa League and he does lose the league, I think he will get sacked. But like you says, Barry, can they afford to sack him and rebuild again? Because it's going to take a lot more to rebuild a new manager than it would be with him there.
Yeah. I listened to a wee bit of sports sound after the game, and one of the points one of the guys on that made was that Celtic made 5 substitutions. Mm-hmm. Rangers only made 2. Now, that's do or die. It's at their home pitch in front of their own fans and everything on the line, and he made 2 substitutions. You would think you would be throwing the kitchen sink at it. And did anybody get that kind of feeling? I didn't get the last 15 minutes of that game. I didn't get the feeling that this was a team that were throwing absolutely everything they had. To me,
kind of sheer panic, Barry, wasn't it? It was a kind of desperation for them.
Well, that's what I felt. I just felt there were many ideas. I just felt it looked like a team that, despite what was on the line in terms of the points and the games that were running down the games now, they looked lost to me. They looked flat. They looked. How do we go about getting an equaliser here? At least even an equaliser. And I just felt, they were lacking ideas. And if they end up with nothing this season, and I don't think they'll get by Braga, right? I don't think they all last to win all. They played them the past few years. I think they did have good results against them, but I think they're missing Morelos for both games. And that
he's missing the semi-final as well, Barry.
Oh, really? Right.
Yeah.
That's a massive goal for them, because despite he's got a poor record against us, I know that, but it's what it does to the rest of the team in terms of their psychology and their sort of belief in winning these games. So if they end up with nothing, where does Gio go from there? I mean, what is the confidence levels of their supporters with Gio Van Bronckhorst at the moment? Because when he came into the club, was it 6 points they were ahead of us? He took over. Right.
I think
they were more, but no more.
It's a 12-point swing, so no, it was 6.
So it was, aye.
They had a 6-point advantage. It's been completely turned on its head. We're now 6 points, and we've won both the Old Firm games that he's played, that he's led the team in. So, I mean, you look at, they only made 2 substitutions. So, Kamara and Barisic didn't go on the pitch. These were seemingly 2 of their assets, these guys. So what would they even get for them now if they move them on?
The two of them get hooked at half time at Parkgate.
Barry, they're still waiting on that bid for Juventus for Kamara.
I know. Honestly, see some of the figures that I heard last year. They were just ludicrous. But
I don't get, guys, right? We were worst season in probably our club's history, right? Last season, they won the league for the first time in their history.
You saw nobody.
And nobody came in for the players.
No.
They're, do you know, it's got to a point that they're that deluded that they think their team are full of superstars and they're going to get 20 million for him and 15 for him and 25 for him. Nobody's bought your players. No. And all their mates in the media and stuff, they're probably giving them a couple of quid to create stories that aren't true. I mean, how many bids now have they not back from the Morelos?
As Peter Lawwell says, an unnamed universe, an unnamed bid, and
an unnamed source. It's phenomenal. Like, don't make up stories about something that just isn't true, because at the end of the day, you look silly. As Barry says, I know these guys are running down their contracts now, so they're not getting 20 million and 10 million and 15 million and 5. They're only getting 2 million. I wouldn't even give you 40 gingies for offering them. Some of them wouldn't even get a game of Flisbee on a Friday. You'd end up, you just play with 9. You wouldn't phone the other one. You'd be like, I'm not even going to bother with him. I mean, you just play with 9. You'd get the boys to play a game of crosses instead of phoning them, wouldn't you?
No.
But I find it totally bizarre. And you go through social media and you see all this and you're going, they're not wired up the right way, man. But they believe everything they say, like that's gospel. And I've said it before, they think it's everybody else and not them.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's phenomenal. And I want to touch just today, we talk about behavioural attitudes and everything else. That was a disgrace in every way today. When we came out for the second half, and Joe Hart was they attempted to strike Joe Hart with it looked like a broken Budweiser bottle to me.
Shocking, absolutely shocking.
Now, you've got to remember there's kids, ball boys behind that goal. Now, if somebody throws a bottle and that, just say for talking sake, hits, I think Robert mentions it on the group chat today. If that shatters, like the wider title hopes did today, no, but if that shatters half the crossbar or half the post, what happens if that gets into one of the Range's eyes? Or it ends up really injuring Joe Hart, our goalkeeper. And then we hear another story of one of our physios was struck with a bottle for the other end. And he's been left with 4 stitches in his head. And then there's another incident with Jota when he's taking a corner. There's all sorts of things getting lobbed at him as well. Then there's another incident when we go and say thanks to our fans and they were cheering with him. And you see Maeda, McCarthy, I think it's Maeda, McCarthy and Hatate. I think it is. It might be a Riley, it's Hatate. And they all do that, duck at the same time. And you just see this missile getting launched at the top of them. And they're all laughing. They're all giggling and laughing. The Celtic players are all giggling and laughing as if, my God. But it's an absolute disgrace. A game that we're trying to sell as our biggest, the most attractive commodity in the league, right? And you've got things like that happening now for the stands with mindless idiots. It's probably the worst, the most volatile I've seen it in my time so far. I don't know about any of you boys.
There you go, Barry. Fire away, mate.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of things that can go wrong with something like that. I mean, there's just one of them. It could have been a ball boy. It could have been one of our own players, for goodness sake. There's just so many things that could go wrong with someone. It's just, I will say, it's always the minority. it would be easy for us to just label that as, you know, their fans, but it's always the minority of people that do these senseless, stupid acts. And that game's broadcast live on Sky. People in all sorts of countries watching this fixture. And that's not going to look well for us, for our game in Scotland. But thankfully it was spotted, because can you imagine if it was spotted and something did happen? It doesn't better to think about. But just to come back to the actual game, you know, and talk about the substitutions that Rangers made and the ones that Celtic. You look at midfield to front, right? Celtic could have went with Beacon, Turnbull, O'Reilly in midfield, and if Kyogo had been fit to play, you could have had Abada, Kyogo, and James Forrest could be fit. You look at the options that we've got. That midfield in front, had it played today, other than the boys that actually started, that would have been capable of going and winning that game. And I think that's what's quite remarkable about the turnaround in players, is the fact that Ange Postecoglou hasn't just put together a winning team, he's put together a winning squad. You know? And that bodes well for next season as well, because what players are going to catch the eye, maybe in the games that are left, but next season as well. You know, what players are really going to make a name for themselves, even more so than what they already are. I'm just sort of looking ahead a wee bit here as well, and Carl Vickers today was so good. Oh, it was just so good that we have to make sure that we get that guy signed up. And I'd like to think, Ryan, that the way he's performed this year and the way the fans have took to him, and I'd like to think he personally wants to stay.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be the only stumbling block, really, if he had one eye on maybe playing in a different league. Because I don't think there's going to be too many teams queuing up to sign him, just because he's playing in a league that goes under the radar a wee bit. You know, clubs maybe won't pay the fee that's been rumoured from, I think, 9 million or something like that. But if Celtic, which looks likely, do go and get Champions League football, that's an investment that we need to do straight away. And Big JP was saying it. The good thing about this manager is that he'll go and get that business done. If it can be done, he'll go and get it done straight away.
Yeah.
And Jota as well, who, you know, we spoke about it. Jota wasn't great today. He didn't have his best game, but he still had an assist. Well, he played a part in the second goal. He put in a lovely ball for the second goal. So he's another one that, you know, we would love to get tied down, but the squad and the depth of players, you know, JP was mentioning Gucci earlier as well, who the wee bits that I saw, he wants a player, he wants a good player. And Big Julian, you know, he'll be chopped for the bit, I'm sure, to get in this team. So all looks well, doesn't it?
Yeah, mate, it does. I don't want to be negative, but I don't think Julian will play again unless it'll be the game, unless the season's finished. I think he might be off. I actually said it to a few people. I heard a few rumours at the start of the season when he got injured, and after that, supposedly he was away. Supposedly he was going to be there when the summer. I don't know if it's true, but
his agent was in a couple of weeks ago as well.
Aye, Ange said he's fully fit. He's on the bench sometimes. We don't know if he doesn't rate him, or maybe we don't know. But I will be surprised. I'll be honest. I'll say it now. I might be totally wrong. He might be a superstar defender for us next year, but I can see maybe Julian leaving in the summer if he's not going to.
Sorry to jump in, mate. Do you think it's just the style of play that Ange plays that just Julian can't play in that team? To
be fair, mate, I seen an interview with him, and he did say, he says, I'm thriving having to learn to play this way. He says, I've not played this way before. So maybe it is getting used to playing in the summer he might play. I don't know, but just the way it's going. I would be surprised if he stayed because he's not really playing. But again, we all know we don't know everything behind the scenes.
He apparently scored a brace Monday there. We beat Motherwell 5-2 behind closed doors, and he's meant to have scored 2 of the goals.
I seen the score, but I didn't see who obviously.
Well, he's meant Golly scored, I know.
Fuck's sake.
Golly.
Aye. The Horney left back.
He's back to his fag run in Benidorm.
Aye. But I agree with you, Barry. I do agree that the guys like Gucci and stuff, the JP says yourself, the squad depths, in the next few games of business end is definitely something that it's exciting. But obviously, JP says, touching on obviously some of the incidents in the game, that was the glass thrown. The bottle thrown wasn't just the first thing. There was cup thrown at Jota taking corners. There was stuff thrown in the game at Scott Bain, etc. when we were celebrating.
Aye, that was it, Ryan. It wasn't that. It was Bain. Scott Bain.
I've never seen. You've seen the odd plastic boat or the odd pie from right, which at a Celtic game, which is unbelievably fucking shocking. Like you say, Barry, it's minority. But I've never seen a smashed bottle. It's obviously been smashed to get thrown. That could.
You see the big button on it was sticking out for that. It was sticking right out. Is it like a blade?
Joe Hart was even saying, "Look, if that takes me out, I'm fucked. If somebody falls on that, it can go anywhere. Blood. It's listen. I don't want anybody into trouble in any shape of life. But whoever that was, and the club Rangers need to look at that. They need to get done for that. But I'm always one for saying that's not the club's fault. Same as Celtic, see when we do all this stupid pyro stuff or we've debated stupid things, it's not the club's fault, but the club always get done for it because they're meant to have the fans under whatever they need to do. But whoever that was has got to take a fucking look at themselves because they're bringing the club into fucking disrepute, Scottish game into disrepute. It's bringing the full country, like JP says, and yourself, Barry, that's in national fucking TV, worldwide TV. We've got Australian playing with Japanese playing with Rangers. I've got guys from different countries, Swedish. They're all watching this game and they're going to see that. And we're trying to get away from all this. We're trying to make it a rivalry, which we all know it's never going to change the hatred. But you want to make it 90 minutes, boom, 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 I hate you. And then, right, okay, game's done. We all have a pint with our pals after the game who are no better. That's what happens. But they're taking the cunt now. This isn't ridiculous. It's going to get sorted.
It's not just that, no. You see in the pitch running battles that are all having with one another, running down Paisley Road West, and all that. You're like, what is wrong with them, man?
I've for my obviously, I'm only a young guy. I'm 28, right? But first few years,
lucky you.
Aye. For the first few years, I supporting your club. You don't really see much. You're only a wee toddler. You don't really know much. But through my years, I supporting Celtic. I've never seen a fight. I can categorise right now. I've never seen Celtic fans fighting abroad. Away games, home games. I've never seen us fighting one, but yeah, you've seen idiots drunk, but I've never seen people getting stabbed or hitting each other. It's just, I don't know why people go out with this mindset, I want to cause trouble. Even Celtic fans, Aberdeen, Habs, Rangers, wherever it is, I go, watch a game, have a few beers, I get home. Never had any mindset of going out to cause trouble.
You need to come out for a game of pool with me and Barry if you've not seen any of that
yet.
But honestly, it's true what you say, JP. That way Hearts fucking... I don't know what's in people's mind to do that. It's
crazy.
You could generally sit and do a podcast. I think it was Ryan in the chat. It says that you could do a podcast, not just Rangers or Celtic. The fucking shame of some fans in Scottish football. It's fucking unbelievable. I do agree with Chris Sutton, JP, that as much as the game was good for Celtic and Celtic were brilliant and it was a good spectacle for Scottish football, that's got to be for the front news of the paper tomorrow. But
I'll not be Celtic going 6 points ahead. It'll be all these incidents that all happened in the game.
And it's unfair. It's unfair for us that that's going to come out as the main up to the game.
Yeah.
Definitely, mate. It's just it's Looney Tunes on it. It's absolutely nuts. These guys aren't even. They're not toddlers. Do you know what I mean? They're no young boys that don't know any better. Some of them are even grown-ass men that, just lose all inhibition of where they are, and that's just their whole life. If their team get beat, they just It's just crazy. I've been to Celtic Park when PSG took 5 off his ring. I never thought for 1 minute about flinging a bottle at somebody or...
JP, I actually clapped PSG off the park. They were phenomenal.
I know, but I just mean I've been on the end of some do. I've been at Celtic Park watching them getting scalped with teams. I was there to make Leverkusen beat us 4-0 this season. I never thought about picking a bottle up and flinging it at somebody or a cup at somebody, or it never entered my head. I just don't get the thought process that goes behind these actions. I really don't. I'm probably never going to understand it, to be honest with you, mate. But to think, to imagine the thought process behind that, the bottle's deliberately been broken.
Yep.
Knowing fine well that it's going to be a Celtic goalie. It's coming up to that end in the second half. It wasn't lying there. It wasn't lying there when McGregor was in that goal in the first half.
It's like you say, you're sort of cutting, JP, but it's definitely you bring in that to a game for a use. Why would you walk into a football match with a beer bottle? Put it in listen, before we get to Celtic Park, there's guys next to you with plastic cup bottles with maybe some Buckfast in it or something. We've all done it in the past to parties in Celtic. We've all done it, right? But to take a fucking glass bottle into the stadium, you must be that's I'm not going to say you're off, you're not. That's not right. You don't do that. You've got to watch a football game.
It's unreal, mate. I just don't understand, and I never will understand why that would enter somebody's head. Now, their comeback to that might be, I was really drunk. No, I was daft.
It's no excuse.
No, but see if you're really drunk, don't get drunk. Because if that's the way you're going to behave, don't get drunk. Simple as that. There's no excuse. There's no explaining it. There's no nothing. The only way to deal with this is jail and a lifetime ban for football. Simple. You need to start setting examples with these luncheons, man, because they're definitely, and it's, by the way, people say it's a minority, it's this, it's that. It doesn't matter, but it's happening. And it's happening time and time again. It's not just the game of day. We've seen it in other games. This was a big reason why a lot of the Celtic fans didn't want their fans back in to Celtic Park. We've seen them wrecking toilets. We've seen them doing this. We've seen them doing many incidents now. I'm going to say it must be coincidence, right? Because it just seems to be their supporters. That it's quite highly coincidental. I could rhyme off about 10 incidents in the last 5-6 years. Things that have happened. The monkey chants with Scott Sinclair.
What's it swept under the carpet?
The Buckfast bottle with Scott Sinclair. It's time and time again. This isn't something that it's all premeditated, and it's just so loser material. You know what I mean? They just can't handle their team losing. So their way of dealing with that's violence and chaos, and it's just madness. It's absolutely crazy. And as I say, the mentality behind it is just unbelievable, and it needs to be stamped out. This should be taken right out of Rangers' hands, and it should be the SPFL and the SFA step forward and say, because I'll tell you something right now, UEFA aren't along and doing it when somebody steps out of line with them, and a European game or whatever. So our governing body needs to have a bit of balls here and say, do you know what? You're taking this out of your hands. I want the CCTV footage of your game, blah, 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 for that section. Send it to us right now. And somebody sits and goes through the footage. Right, there he's there. Out. Jail. Simple. It's the only way to deal with these people.
Aye.
And it will stop. It was the same. Remember, we saw a big high run case in racism. And it was happening internationally. It was happening club level. It was happening. And that became a wee thing for a wee while. And now it's all violence. Now it's all down to people getting violent. And like, I really don't know what else to say or how to explain it, because my veins are growing up, and if they become good football fans or whatever, I don't want them being exposed to stuff like that. Especially in a game like that where you want to go and enjoy the football. And you're watching it on the telly. We're watching it on the telly, and right away, as soon as the second half's ready to kick off, Joe Hart straight away, he's like, I'm not here. Oh, he's pointing to the grass. And we're all going, I wonder what he's doing. And then the camera zooms in, and it's horrible. And I think Andy Walker said it as well. You know, we're trying to sell this game in short around the world. And the Sydney Cup's invited both teams over recently to obviously know Celtic have now lost their support act, so that's fine. But they invited us over, and things like that are happening. It's disgusting. It's absolutely shameful.
You see what Barry, what JP Senior, it doesn't get called out, right? It doesn't get called out. It's always swept under the fucking carpet. As soon as Celtic do something, which is even if it's unbelievably wrong, it's always pointed out. Celtic's this, Pyros, this or that. It's under the carpet all the time. And again, Barry, I don't know if other podcasts call it out. I don't watch Celtic podcasts at all, so I don't know if anybody else calls it out. Fans on Twitter call it out. But Barry, we're fucking calling it out. It's fucking diabolical how they get away with it. Like you say, but Barry, as a minority, it's just stupid people that. Again, Barry, that's people watching these games. It's the way you're brought up. You're brought up to do these things. You're brought up seeing this, and you do it, and it's got to get called out, innit, mate? It's fucking. I don't want anybody to get in trouble. I don't want that. But when you're seeing stuff like that, Barry, it's going to get called out, because what's that going to do to other people and other teams that see that? Oh, is it all right? You just find blokes in the park and it's fine. Do you know what I mean? It's bringing the game into disrepute. It's bringing the game into making your game look, which already gets fucking downed upon, even worse.
Well, JP's saying that the fans can't handle defeat, but you'd think they'd be used to it by now. I mean,
well, that's it. But it's time and time again, mate. Is what I'm saying is whenever it happens, they become so bitter and evil towards it. It's you see it, mate. It's like a venom that's inside them, waiting to spring out.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, mate. I think that they're an angry bunch. They just seem an angry bunch. Seem like an angry club. But Ryan, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think that it should be spoke about, it should be examined, it should be analysed, it should be dealt with swiftly. And you know something? That club, for me, have been guilty of sweeping things under the carpet, as you said. They haven't addressed certain things that should be addressed. Mm-hmm. They have denied it, they have put stories on top of it, they have reframed situations. But there's an awful lot of that goes on at that club. And they should come out and deal with the person or persons who were involved in this, because do you know another thing, as a footballer, watching that game today, and let's say 2 months, 3 months down the line, Gio or Ange approaches one of these players and says, "We'd like to bring you to the club." If they're watching that today, they're going to go, well, I'm not really crazy about coming and playing in a league and a fixture where I could get, all sorts of damage. Mm-hmm. Because I was looking at Joe Hart, thinking, what's Joe Hart thinking as he's looking at this? Is he thinking to himself, do I really want to be here next year? Do I really want to take part in this fixture? And then, you guys say that when Celtic players went over to celebrate with their fans, there was still Rangers fans there. Why they were still there, I don't know. But they were still there and were throwing objects towards Maida and Jota. And fair enough, those boys were laughing at it. But what do you think their wives or their partners are going to say when they go home? That nearly hit you in the face. When you were there taking a corner, Jota, I saw a coin getting through your direction. Are you sure you want to sign for this club when you're going to be playing in a fixture? Nothing to do with us, but so there's all sorts of permutations and things that could affect. And Rangers themselves need to be robust and deal with it publicly. Deal with it publicly. And I don't even think an apology would go amiss.
It'll be a shitty statement, Barry, and that's it.
Yeah, but that's my point, Ryan, is that there is a real lack of humility about how the club run their business, how they deal with their affairs. So I don't expect. I it'll be something simplistic, something generic. It won't be meaningful, you know. But it's absolutely shocking.
As mate,
It'll be a statement. It'll be a statement about a statement relating to a statement that was intended to be written for another statement.
No, as it's fucking. I don't like talking about all this, but it's going to get called out because it's shambolic. And if it means that we need to say it on this and it eventually gets out, I don't know if anybody listens to it, but it's going to get put out there because it's unbelievably shocking. End of the day, these guys are human beings. They're football players, but they're still fucking human beings. They've still got families and kids to go home to, and they're not wanting you home to their fucking dad getting blinded with a boat or a coin. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, Barry, fantastic result for us. Going forward, it's going to be exciting. Just your last thoughts about today's game.
Well, my final thoughts is just delighted to be here tonight and share this with you guys, and the feel good factor is on. Ryan, I'd seen in the chat that you had spoke about Greg Taylor and how well he performed today, but maybe it's an area of the pitch going forward that we should be looking at. And I agree. I 100% agree with you. I do think that will be a position next year that will strengthen him. But I'll just say, seeing Greg Taylor was getting took off today, it's the first time ever watching Greg Taylor in a Celtic jersey when I thought to myself, oh no, that's not good. Honestly, you know that way you're going, oh, that's no.
I was gutted on.
Honestly, so that shows you how well he's applied himself. I think he deserves a mention because he made a lot of blocks, he made some good headers. I thought, I loved the incident with Ryan Jack, who, by the way, for how much they big that guy up in the biggest domestic game of the season today, he was shocking. He was nowhere to be seen. McGregor,
I thought he was poor all night for Scotland. I thought he was really poor all night. He looked miles off it for Scotland the other night as well.
It was 2-0. He came out, it was 2 each, so.
He was. And they've got him pinned as one of the leaders. I didn't see that for his performance today. I mean, when they analyse their own team, they should be looking at him and saying that was poor.
Aye, Leeton didn't Paisley Road West after training.
Aye.
No,
I agree with Barry and obviously Greg Taylor. Again, he did play well. He had a good game. I don't want to be critical. He did have a good game, but he did. I know people. I think even Lee says in the chat. He did make some silly wee balls and stuff, but I don't want to be critical because he did play well. But I don't want Celtic fans to just think because he's played well recently that's himself. No, honestly, I've got.
I don't want to be critical, but
I'm being honest. Right? He's played well this year, considering where we are, and he was basically like Wilson. He had to play. If Fred Taylor didn't start and play well, I don't think he did.
Tell you, mate, he's an ex-Celtic captain.
But he's fucking FIFA. But he's got his new deal, so he's going to be here. He's going to put. I think he'll be the second choice next year because I generally do believe we will get a better left back. Again, I don't want to be critical because some fans are listening. Oh, he's played well. They won the game. What are you being critical for? I am not being critical. I'm just saying going forward, if we want to be in Europe, like Mr. fucking Lobel says, a Champions League club, we get fucking sold in Europe this year when playing left back. So it shows you we can't play next year left back. That's my opinion. But on the day's performance, Barry, I thought it was very good. I'm not going to say it was excellent because I just thought it was very good. I thought it was good. He's been consistently playing well the last few weeks. But a fan's just happy with just playing well for a few weeks. For me, I'm not. Some fans are always going to compare him to Kieran Tierney. Whoever we sign again, it's going to be Tierney or is it Gary. It's always going to be like that. That's just the way it's going to be. But he did play well, Barry, so it does have a mention. There's no doubt about that. I thought he was very well, playing well. He started to go past the fullbacks, the wingers a bit more, and he's done well in these inverted fullbacks. But I do agree with you, mate. I don't want to be critical, but I think going forward, I think we do need to buy better down that side. He's definitely very able for Scottish game, mate, but I do think going forward, as ever since seeing the left back, Barry, I think it is my bugbear for us. I don't think we've had a solid left back. I know he's been solid this year, but we've had 4 or 5 transfer windows and no had a very, very, very good left back, and I think it is something to address. We can talk about it in our podcast, but I think JP is eventually something we need to address maybe going forward, and especially Europe anyway.
No, I don't want to. I love him. I think he's brilliant.
He's part of the Greg Taylor Pass It Back fan club.
Yeah, pass the ball back as long as you keep the ball. Yeah, pass the ball back as long as you keep the ball. I don't care what you do with it. Don't do anything daft. Don't give the ball away. Keep the ball. That's what you're taught in year 9. Keep the ball. That's the main aim of the game. Keep the ball. When you're in possession, keep the ball. If you've got the ball, the other team haven't. Simple as that. But I think Greg Taylor's been absolutely a revelation under Ange, and I think his game's improved humongously. He's showed me a lot in his game personally. If he get that shoulder injury, he's head up there. I think he's been, for the fact that Ange keeps picking him, you've got to ask yourself.
But to be fair, he's no choice not to pick him. But I think.
Well, has he?
I don't think Liam Scales going to cut it. Personally, I don't think.
Has he?
Ball and goal.
Surely by now, but surely by now, Juranovic would have been played there a lot more.
He's too good at right back.
He's too good, isn't he? Right back, he's superb. I know he made that mistake today, but no, but I agree, JP. I think he's been superb under Ange. He's been brilliant.
And to get that new long-term contract, Ange certainly must see something that some people don't.
But I'm like you. I have said.
I agree with you in terms of if you want to in the Champions League. I agree with you. You need somebody like Juranovic on the left. I agree with you. I totally agree. That's not me slagging Greg Taylor, because I actually think Greg Taylor, certainly for the last couple of Rangers games he's played, he's turned into the better Carlos. It just seems to be a switch has went on and he's became this quality left back that we've needed all of a sudden. But yet he's not been able to do it in other games, like Big Solback and found him out in the Bodo Glimt game. But I think big testament to Greg Taylor was the fact that he was called up and played in the Poland game. I thought he had a great game that night as well. I thought he was really good in everything that Scotland was trying to do. He's always going to get compared to KT, which is a shame. And I think the next 10 left backs are probably going to be compared to KT. Everybody's going to be looking at it now. Before that, it was Izagiri. So, I think people are going, oh, he's not as good. But I thought he played really well with it. I thought he was excellent. But I thought the whole team individually played well. So they all personally get pass marks for me today. But moving forward, Ryan, just continue the momentum, mate. Just now, again, I've said it, keep saying it, I've said it for Christmas to now. We're coming to the business, we're at the business end of the season now. That's when all your big players all come to the fore, mate. That's when they start to, that's when it comes to the business end of the season. At the beginning of the season, you get a baby drawing one each for your Kilmarnocks and nothing each for Ross County and that's that. See, when it gets to this side of the season, there's no room for error, mate. No room whatsoever. And that's when Celtic go for a jugular. They done it under Rodgers. Got to after Christmas. And any time there's been a winter break, that Mob of Crosshair have collapsed. Totally collapsed. It's as if it disrupts momentum. And I don't know what it does. I don't know what goes on, to be fair. But that's 3 times now we've had a winter break. Pre and post-COVID. And they've collapsed. They have totally shot a bed. We have got better, and when I say better, I mean fitter. We've showed that as the season's went on. We've had to come for a lot of different types of adversity this season. The squad was doing my numbers. You look at the game at Boxing Day up at Perth, we're really depleted. Big boy Dawson, Ben Dock's on the bench. Squad's night and day for that now, right? Night and day. Limited amount of options now. I'm just hoping now O'Reilly's okay. And as Barry says, I was the exact same day when I saw Greg Taylor limping off. I went, oh no. Because I thought he was excellent today. I thought he marshalled Aribo really well today.
Some people were saying at the start here, Joe Aribo was brought in mortgage. Come on, man. Come on, man.
I found that absolutely I found that absolutely hilarious when I saw that comment. It's just you're needing an appointment pronto with your GP if that's what you're thinking. Because that's certainly no anywhere near reality. That prediction, but aye, look forward to it now, mate. We've got a semi-final to look forward to. I think the good thing is they're playing in Europe. So when is it they play Braga, Barry? Is it this Thursday?
That's Thursday, aye.
So it means they'll be playing Braga on the Thursday before they play us in the semi.
All right.
Maybe, aye.
So they don't play Braga, right? So they play Braga Thursday. They play St Mirren on Sunday. We play on Saturday, so it's a chance to hit 9 points and put pressure on them. They then play Braga the following Thursday at Ibrox.
Was it Ibrox?
It is at Ibrox. They're away. They're in Portugal on Thursday. Aye, they were drawn away from home the first time.
Aye, so that's a semi, that's right, isn't it? Is that right?
And then it's the semi-final on the Sunday
after
they play them. Mate, that's humongous amounts of football before they play us again. Whereas we've got, look at that rest period we've got now.
Yeah.
We've not got midweek football now. And now we're playing Saturday football, whereas they're playing Sunday football. So it's going to be back to the wall stuff for them now. And if Morelos is going to be missing now for a couple of ties, he's going to miss that semi-final too. I actually think he might miss the rest of the season. There you go, and I think they're just covering it up and not want to actually tell the fans. I think pretty soon it's going to come out that he's going to miss the end of the season. Because I read the thing, I told you about it, Ryan, the other night. I read the thing the Colombian manager and the FA came out with. And they weren't happy with Rangers. They put it down to negligence, Barry. That they said that wasn't a new injury. They said that's been a reoccurring thing. He's had rang him for a matter of weeks now. And they've sent him on that camp, knowing fine well that he was injured and not 100%. He then goes to do a training exercise and just drops to the floor in sheer agony. So that's how you've seen the photo with him in crutches, and you saw, and I'm led to believe as well that he's not even in Glasgow. So he was in London because he needs to go and see some sort of specialist to do with his thigh muscle. It's quite bad. It's a bad injury. So that's a big loss. And that's no counting the football they're going to have to play. The amount of minutes they're going to have to play between now and when we play them again in the semi. And see, when you're playing catch-up, right, you maybe get away a game or two and you're maybe not switched on. Like the Dundee game, they went a goal down, they got to 2 goals and won the game. That's not going to keep happening for them. They're going to come up against a Hearts or a Hibs or a Motherwell who Motherwell went to Ibrox, they were 2-0 down. They pulled the game back 2 each and they drew it. But they're going to come a cropper there, Ryan. We maybe going to Fir Park, and if they're not at it, and Celtic have won a day, Celtic have maybe put down a marker the day before, and it's 29 points, and then it's, and that's in their head and on, and the day will be in their head too, and things start eating away at you, mate. It's pressure, and we know they don't really deal well with pressure. But moving forward, mate, I just want to see us take the rest to the cleaners now. And I would love us to, so would we all, but to go and win the treble would be monumental, man. And
aye, mate.
The man would need to be immortalised after that, I'm afraid, for what he's had to come through this season.
Aye, mate, definitely. I'm agreeing with you and Barry have said, mate, totally. And obviously you were saying about the winter breaks. I don't think it's a winter breaks, mate. I just think they're not good enough. Simple as that. They've had one.
There is that aspect to it.
They've had, for me, there's one lucky season when we were in the attic. We were totally in the water. Again, I still believe maybe 4 years, 5 years, 6 years down the line, somebody will say in a podcast about something make my own because it was too bad to be true. I don't care what anybody says. Players like Edward, Christie, McGregor were all shite. I know Edward got 20 odd goals, but that just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen for no reason. Every player was away with it. So I do believe it's not good enough. I think new's shown that we're still, again, I know the league's no one, but for me, we're still, as it stands now, there's a big gulf. And again, just hope we continue next week. St Johnstone, we just continue getting 3 points. And then when we start getting maybe 4 games to go, then we can start getting excited. But again, lads, hail, 6 points clear. We just continue to go. JP, Barry, thanks a lot, lads. Yep. Hail, and take care.
Hail, mate. Hail, Barry.